Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. We've got DMAC, we've got Will Peterson, Rachel Vigil hanging out with you. There's a lot to talk about, including I'm calling bluff on this Alberto stuff that's going on. We need to talk about the Nuggets, too. Everybody needs to hop off the panic train, and we have to get into a conversation. Plus, I got a really funny text from one of my best friends last night that we need to discuss. But first of all, good morning, both of you. DMAC, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Will, it's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, cheers. I missed you guys yesterday, but I know you had like all the A-list guests, so I got bumped to Thursday. All good with me.
No, we love having you on Thursday. We love having you on the show in general, but let's talk about this Alberto situation that just recently got leaked because I'm calling a bluff on this. They're saying that there's interest in Albert Okwuegbunam. According to league sources, third-year former Missouri standout and fourth-round draft pick has 7 catches for 50 yards this season, 51 career receptions for 501 yards, and 3 scores. Are you into this or are you not, Will?
I mean, he was inactive last week, right? So if Greg Dulcich is the guy and Eric Saubert's still in your plans and Eric Tomlinson's in your plans and Andrew Beck's in your plans, you don't have room for him on the roster anymore. So if the options are either cut him or trade him, of course you're going to leak to NFL insiders that you're trying to trade him. If you could get a 7th-round pick for Alberto at this point, that would be a win because it's better than nothing. So this leak clearly came from the Broncos front office. They're trying to drum up a little bit of interest to get anything at all for a guy that probably has played his last snap with the Broncos.
We have 4 very interesting players for the Broncos with the trade deadline coming up in a couple weeks. Alberto, obviously, they will take a bag of donuts for Alberto. I mean, whatever you can get. He has no more purpose to be on the team. The second guy they have, I believe, is Melvin Gordon, and I think that's what's going on. I think his meeting with Hackett and the announcement of his starter is to tell the NFL he's a quality product. Why would you give away your competitive advantage? They didn't even want to reveal who the long snapper was going to be because of a competitive advantage. Why are you announcing Melvin Gordon's going to start? You're doing that to send a message to everybody that you can get this guy and this guy actually has some value. The third guy is Bradley Chubb. With Baron Browning doing what he's doing and the commitment to Randy Gregory, there's zero chance Chubb is going to be offered big money. Zero. And they'll only trade him if they lose one of these next 2 games. But if they do lose one of these next 2 games, he will absolutely be gone like Vaughn was last year. And then the final piece of the puzzle, and this is the iffiest one, of course, is Jerry Jeudy. And I don't think they want to deal him, but I think they will if they can complement something else. I believe they're probably sick and tired of what's going on with Jerry Jeudy, and he probably needs a new place to go. So look for those 4 players. The least likely is Jerry Jeudy, by the way. The least likely. Alberto's a slam dunk. Melvin Gordon, I would say, is, 50-50, and I would say it's around 70-75% for Bradley Chubb. So we got to keep an eye on all those 4 guys.
Yeah, I mean, those are a lot of household names for Broncos fans right there. So a lot of changes could definitely be happening. If you had to guess when, I know you said if they lose the next 1 or 2 games, for sure, a few of those names will be gone. But if you had to guess, how likely is it that all 4 of those names could possibly be gone come next season?
Next season? Well, Gordon definitely won't be back. He's gone no matter what.
Yeah.
Alberto will be gone no matter what. And Bradley Chubb. So 3 out of the 4. Will?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Remember, Gordon's on a 1-year deal. This is the last year of Chubb's deal. He's going to get big money from someone.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think edge rusher is such a premium, and he's looked pretty good through 6 games. It's one of those things you can be kind of on the good side of mediocre and still get paid crazy money. Guys, look what the Broncos just paid Randy Gregory, right? Like, it's a premium position. Bradley Chubb may even get more money than Randy Gregory did from the Broncos. Like, that's how desperate this league is for edge rushers, if he can stay healthy the rest of the way. And then Jeudy, the bigger conversation for me on Jeudy is it's time for the 5th-year option, right? Will they pick it up? Will they not pick it up? That totally declares their future intentions with Jeudy. If you don't pick it up, he's going into a lame duck year in his 4th year, which they probably would not pick it up. He's trending more towards a bust. Again, he was an Elway pick, not a Peyton pick. Mm-hmm. So I would be shocked if they did. but he'll still be on the team. He'll just be playing out the final year of his deal, would be my guess. Like D-Mac said, it's a name to keep an eye on if he becomes a distraction in the locker room, but still probably a stretch that they move Jerry Jeudy, especially without Tim Patrick in the fold.
Would you be sad to see I feel like Bradley Chubb is the name where we're all like, oh, he's played well enough that, there's no drama involving him compared to the others.
Yeah. Right.
Would you be sad to see Bradley Chubb be gone possibly by the bye week?
Yeah, listen, it's different guys get traded for different reasons. For Bradley Chubb, it's because he actually has value. That's not a negative thing on Bradley Chubb. And it's a compliment to Baron Browning. Listen, they'll only do it if there's just really no hope, if they think the season is over, because you got to see how depleted they are with draft picks because of the Russell Wilson deal. And you probably could get I think you could get a second and third round for Bradley Chubb. I don't think you could get a first round, but a second and third for Bradley Chubb. And then you're in a situation like the Broncos were with Von Miller. Sad? No, I got nothing against Bradley Chubb. But, it is a reminder of the worst draft day decision of all time for the Denver Broncos in choosing Chubb over Josh Allen. Never mind Josh Rosen and Lamar Jackson. At the time, you had a choice, Bradley Chubb or Josh Allen. That very specific choice at that very specific moment. And they went with Bradley Chubb. Tremendously horrific decision, as Josh Allen is now the number one quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, gosh, I know. That is just kind of like a stab to the stomach. Will, for you, gosh, D-Mac, you get me to go on a whole rant about Josh Allen and this whole deal. But, Will, for you, would you be sad, or how would you feel about Bradley Chubb no longer being on this team and knowing that this season is a bust anyways?
No, I'd be sad because, as D-Mac mentioned, he's a former number 5 overall pick. That's a position that's supposed to spend a decade or two.
Oh, yeah.
Get not a decade or two, but you guys know what I meant. 10 to 12 years with your franchise. Get 2 or 3 contracts from your franchise. Top 5 picks are supposed to be cornerstone players who hopefully play their entire career with your organization. So it would be the end of an era in a sense, but it would be admitting that we had a top 5 pick that we screwed up, that we traded this guy before he could even get a second contract from us. Guys, in a perfect world, Von Miller and Bradley Chubb were supposed to be this duo that led the Broncos back to Super Bowl 50 glory. Well, they never even sniffed a playoff game. And then to trade Von one year and Chubb the next would show that whole plan just blew up in John Elway's face. And oh, by the way, you passed on the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, because with Elway, he never really could grasp, which is amazing, the importance of the quarterback position. It's not only could he not identify quarterbacks, he couldn't embrace that philosophy. And neither could George Payton, by the way. And that's why we see this bizarre overcompensation for Russell Wilson, which we were all into at the time because we were so starved. But that was the only way to do it. But in all honesty, what other traded for quarterback ever has got the same value that Russell Wilson got, that the Seahawks got? I mean, we are talking Cowboys, Herschel Walker, Minnesota Vikings that goes way back, which was a disaster for the Vikings and led to 3 Super Bowl championships for the Cowboys.
I have a question. Would you rather be starved, if we're using D-Mac's words, or have a slight hope that maybe Russell Wilson can turn this thing around, Will?
Well, I wrote about it yesterday at denverfan.com. The Broncos are slated to pick number 7 in the 2023 NFL draft. Unfortunately, Seattle is making that selection. Like, they got Charles Cross, the offensive tackle, at number 9 a year ago. If it holds, and again, we've got a lot of season to go, but if it keeps going this direction, it's going to be another top 10 pick that the Seahawks get from the Broncos. So, no, I'd rather be starved. I'd rather still have hope. I mean, this trade, the way it's trending, could set this organization back 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, it could go down as that bad of a trade. You mentioned Herschel Walker. I remember when Ricky Williams, remember the Dolphins-Saints deal for the running back, and that sent those 2 organizations in different directions. Like, this could go down, and again, it's 6 games, so I'm not saying it is yet, not even close, but it could go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history.
Yeah, and you were put in that position because you valued a cornerback over a quarterback, okay? So everybody says, oh, how great things worked out because we got Patrick Surtain and Russell Wilson. That's time machine logic. When you were making the decision of a corner over a quarterback, guys, you weren't thinking, oh, yeah, but certainly we'll get, well, really, they thought they were going to get Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers would have been an equal amount of a disaster had they got him anyways. And this is where we go with quarterbacks.
Rachel, that's there he is. That's his favorite rant. So I was hoping to hear the rest of it.
Well, there I am. So, yes, of course. It's all about quarterbacks. It always is about quarterbacks. That's a little too close. And we have gone down this path so many times before. And it blows me away that guys that make millions and millions of dollars to make these decisions don't understand the basic nature of your sport, especially when it's so easy to read. We gave up. Everybody loves Patrick Surtain, right? We all love Patrick Surtain, right? Like Will just pointed out, the Seahawks drafted their starting left tackle for the next 10 years in Charles Cross. So we gave up the equivalent of that. At number 7 next year, or the top 10, which it's looking like it's going to be, that's another guy just like Patrick Surtain, whether it's a tackle or a linebacker or whoever. So guys, the value on Russell Wilson is mind-blowing. I mean, it is ridiculous. And it does really question why you took a cornerback rather than a quarterback with Surtain over a quarterback. And that would have been Mac Jones or Justin Fields. And for everybody that says, oh, well, Patrick Surtain is much better than Justin Fields, I say to them, and I've said this 10 million times, you've got to get over the names. The names throw everybody for a loop. What you've got to focus on is how you get a quarterback in the first place. And whether or not that quarterback is a bust, you can't choose when you suck. You just suck when you suck, and you've got to move forward because trying to find success in another way is way riskier and costs you way more. And that got us Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, Josh Allen, Mark Sanchez, Brock Osweiler redo, and now, sadly, statistically, the worst one of all, Russell Wilson.
It's not looking good. We're going to get to text from my friends here in a quick second, but DMAC instead gets calls from his friends. So, DMAC, who just called you?
That was my great friend, Ed Prather. And if you need to buy a house, go to Ed Prather. That's Ed, PRATHER.com. Ed Prather. He'll sell your house.
DMAC always gets calls from the most interesting people, but I'm waiting for the day where he's like, oh, it's my wife, or oh, it's my friend, or my sons. One of them. It's always somebody who's very interesting. But we'll get to text from my friends because last night I got a text from one of my best friends. He said, hey, Rachel, just out of curiosity, what is the absolute blank is going on in the Denver running back room? Do I start him? Do I sit him? Do I throw him off the ship? Him being either Murray or Gordon. We had a group chat yesterday, Will, and you said, why change anything? Because clearly it's working. Something along those lines. I don't remember your exact words. So what the heck are the Broncos doing in the running back room? Is it all just to try and get a little bit of value out of Melvin Gordon? And should you start or sit Melvin Gordon this week?
Yeah, just obviously I know you were getting at it, but my group text was dripping in sarcasm, right? Like
100%.
Why change anything when you just had 2 absolute disasters in overtime? Montreal Washington, still the punt returner. Whatever, that's a much smaller note. But Melvin Gordon, starting running back. Like, guys, I know, DMAC, you were at the War Room yesterday, but you were chiming in on Twitter. Like, I was watching this press conference live going, what are we doing announcing Melvin Gordon as the starter on Wednesday after, let's go through it. He pouted on the sidelines like a baby. He pouted with Jerry Jeudy. He does the 2-minute and 20-second interview about how he could have helped and had no explanation and blah, 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 and the coaches don't talk to him and whatever. And then he goes and likes a bunch of tweets, which anyone with half a brain knows your likes are public, that says he should be traded, that why is he behind Latavius Murray, all these things about how much he hates the Broncos. And then he gets called in the head coach's office, and the head coach tells him, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, and you're the starter. Like, is Nathaniel Hackett trying to be these guys' buddy, or is he trying to be the boss? And who's the boss at Dove Valley? And I want to get into D-Mac's theory, because if his theory's right, it's the only theory that makes sense.
Right.
If not, the Broncos reached a new low yesterday, including Nathaniel Hackett, with logic that doesn't make any sense. And as Chad Brown tweeted my tweet and said, what the hell is going on at Dove Valley? How many players are going to go knock on the head coach's door and beg for a starter's job? Because clearly this type of behavior works.
Well, that's it. And that's where we were going to, Will. So I guess we're kind of maybe foolishly giving them the benefit of the doubt, because on the surface, this seems absolutely insane, because you're admitting another mistake. You're admitting you shouldn't have benched him, I guess, or you're admitting you can cry like a baby and get your way, and who's really in control. The trade thing is the only thing that actually makes legitimate sense.
Yes.
And I'll tell you this about the Jets. First of all, the Jets are a very mediocre team with a very good record. That's who they are, okay? They're not a bad team, but they're not a great team at all. However, their front four is fantastic, led by Quinn and Williams. The one thing Melvin Gordon actually really can do well, that really doesn't set you back, is he can pass block. He can. He knows what he's doing. He's tough. He's big for a running back. He's good in that situation. So that there might be a little bit of a combo meal there. But Latavius Murray, he's 6 foot. He's bigger than Melvin Gordon at 6'3" and like 230 or whatever pounds. I mean, he's bigger than Melvin. Mike Boone isn't. So I'm hoping, giving them the benefit of the doubt, that this is about a trade. Because if this isn't about a trade, it's like total incompetence.
So then is Melvin Gordon going to start come Sunday, and is he going to take snaps for the entire game, or is he going to start, but we're going to see like 20% out of him?
Well, he did that really grumpy locker room interview yesterday. I don't know if you guys have seen there are some of the Twitter likes, by the way. I don't know if you guys have seen the clip of him in the locker room, but he was a jerk. I mean, he got 3-4 questions where he just couldn't even open his mouth. Go watch the start of the video, because he's just being a salty jackwagon, I guess.
Which makes me sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that makes me believe that this is all BS too, because if you just got the starting job back, wouldn't you be a little more chippier? Just a little bit.
And just real quick, finally he got asked or told, well, Nathaniel Hackett just said you're going to be the starter, and his response was grumpy. Well, I started last week. How'd that work out? So is this symbolic, I think, is what you're getting at, Rachel? Very well could be. Could get the carries on the first series, rush 2 carries, 6 yards, and the Latavius show the rest of the way. Again, the whole thing is ridiculous and silly, but go watch Melvin's behavior in the locker room yesterday. I was not a fan of it at all.
Yeah, again, I mean, it's a good question by you, Rachel, in terms of, so what if he is starting, if he's not really playing, which goes more into the I guess our building conspiracy theory that he's really being shopped right now, and they want to put the best shine on it. Although, just to contradict my own little theory here, how stupid are the rest of the NFL teams? Right. I mean, what, they can't figure this out?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Yeah, and by the way, the NFL has the strangest sort of rules about what you get credit for. If you're just out there for the opening stat, you're a starter. Who cares about that? Billy Turner didn't start, but he played 71% of the plays at right tackle. So who's like your Kendall right tackle in that game? Cam Fleming or Calvin Anderson at left tackle, or Billy Turner? Well, anybody with a brain in their head would say, well, Billy Turner was the player, even though he didn't start. We could see something like that from Melvin Gordon. I think he's a good pass blocker. I think they're trying to shop him. I'll stay with my conspiracy theory. But if things go sour or not well, I wouldn't be surprised to see Melvin Gordon on the bench again in the second half.
Gosh, oh my goodness. So I guess to answer my friend's question, what we need to do is I would start Latavius Murray over Melvin Gordon.
I wouldn't start anybody. You're going against the tough.
But if that's all you have,
then you're losing your fantasy league anyways. If that's all you have, I mean, if those are your only choices in your fantasy league, holy cow, you're terrible.
Yeah, go pick up Philip Lindsay off waiver wires if that's your case. He's got a better chance of doing something in Indy than you do with anyone on this Broncos offense. If you're starting a single soul on this Broncos offense, you are messing up in a big, big way. The only position you can justify starting, well, there's two. You could start the defense and you could start the kicker, and that's it.
Yeah, and by the way, this doesn't mean the Broncos are necessarily going to lose. I'm picking the Broncos to actually win, and here's why. I think the Jets are coming off two incredibly emotional games, a beatdown of the Dolphins within their division and then a road win in the Packers. It's just hard to sustain that kind of momentum seriously week after week unless you're a really good team. And I'm telling you, the Jets aren't a really good team. Now, I don't have some sort of crazy, bonfire of scoring. I got 19-13 Broncos, which is, to your point, Will, a lot of Brandon McManus field goals. Because I do think you can force Zach Wilson into turnovers, and I think that will happen, giving the Broncos relatively short fields and a good field goal kicker. So that's not to say the Broncos offense is going to be spectacular. I just think Zach Wilson, he's young, he's learning, he holds on to the ball too long, and I think you can force some turnovers, and I think that's what will happen with this game. This is not a blowout. The Jets aren't some sort of crazy dominant team, and the Broncos defense is that good.
Okay.
They just went into Lambeau and won by 17. They just went into Lambeau.
Did you watch the game? Did you see? Did you watch how it happened?
Yeah, my boy Will Parks, Philly Will, had a touchdown. Do you see that? Our old friend.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm talking about. There was extenuating circumstances. I think the Jets had something like 36 yards of offense in the first half. It was like that. Like
Russell Wilson threw for 15 in the second half in overtime. The Broncos are the king of extenuating circumstance right now, D-Mac. I'm not putting anything past the Broncos. If the Jets can go beat the Packers and Aaron Rodgers by 17.
But Will, hold on. The Packers are not that good. They're not. They've got some significant problems. One of them is Aaron Rodgers, by the way. The other is offensive line that's not good. They got a field goal attempt blocked. They got problems there in Green Bay. That's not a smooth situation.
Okay, so bad offensive line, the Broncos have that. Field goal attempt blocked, the Broncos have that. Horrible QB play, the Broncos have that. Again, if it's the same formula that we saw a week ago and the Broncos make all the same mistakes the Packers make, I'll even give you they're not that good. Well, then it's a 17-point Jets win.
Oh, my God. So what are you predicting? 17-0? What exactly is your prediction?
I don't think it'll be that many, but no, I'm absolutely taking the Jets. I'll take the Jets something like 21-10. D-Mac, this defense.
You think the Jets with Zach Wilson are going to score 3 touchdowns against this Broncos defense?
Well, they could easily get one on special teams or on defense. Absolutely. I heard Derek say it yesterday on your show. This defense is on the verge of a mutiny. Do you really think they're going to come out and play all that hard on Sunday? Maybe from the first snap they will. But if it gets to the third quarter and the offense is doing the same old shenanigans, it's just human nature to let your foot off the gas a little bit. I could see that happening with this defense. I don't know if they have another 60, 65, 68 minutes in them like they had to the last 2 weeks with overtime with how frustrated they are. Justin Simmons, I know he was better yesterday. He looked like he wanted to cry. Broken man at the podium after the Chargers game.
Listen, what is happening to me? When did a 19-13 victory over the Jets become some sort of outrageous statement? I don't think it's a crazy hyperbole just predicting a win in the National Football League. So you're making me feel a little foolish here, Will, that I'm just even slightly optimistic with a total of 19 points.
My goal wasn't to make you feel foolish. My goal was to point out that if the Jets can do that to a Packers team that has a lot of the same issues as the Broncos, then wouldn't it feel like we'd see the same movie this week? A similar type game?
I feel like I should let Rachel talk. I don't mean to cut her off.
Sorry.
No. I'm honestly curious to hear your response, D-Mac. So go ahead.
Oh, well, we can do, in terms of game breakdowns, the Jets are just, you got to look at them. They're middle of the road in everything. Pass defense, rush defense. They're very strong on the front four. They very rarely blitz, and Robert Saleh is a very conservative coach. They're like that because they're trying to balance and maintain the development of Zach Wilson. And I think Zach Wilson has a lot of potential for sure, but he's just not quite there yet. So
is Zach Wilson playing better than Russell Wilson?
Barely. They're There was actually a Pro Football Talk or a quarterback ranking, and I think Russell was 22 and Zach Wilson was like 24. You know, it's kind of like that. It's not any kind of incredible sort of performance from either guy. So, I mean, if you ask me who I'd rather have, it clearly would be Zach Wilson, because as it goes, you need younger quarterbacks because it's cheaper for the team and you need to develop them all along. That is the best way to go. Best way to go. Jerry rigging things, like we talk about being hoodwinked. We got ridiculous success with Peyton Manning, and we thought that was the blueprint. I mean, how dumb is that? The more time that goes by, the more lucky we should all feel that Peyton got 3 good years. And in the 4th year, when he was his worst, we just so happened to have our best defense, okay? And then Peyton was good enough after weeks and weeks off, to come back and lead them through the defense in a pretty conservative offense to a Super Bowl victory. That's how that happened. And by the way, the drop-off from Peyton Manning was unbelievable. In his 2nd year here, he was the best quarterback I've ever seen in a National Football League season. And then 2 years later, he's at the absolute bottom. So when you drop off, guys, it is perilous when you finally fall off the cliff. And there's no advance warning. You don't slightly fall off the cliff. You tumble like the coyote and the roadrunner.
Okay. Only D-Mac. You guys, first of all, the fact that even came out of your mouth is that you would rather have Zach Wilson over Russell Wilson is a statement that I never, ever, ever heard when this trade first happened. And it's sad that it could possibly be so true come this Sunday. And we did get a comment that said, I'm going to the game on Sunday and I'm already getting my booing voice ready. That's how bad this team is looking. That's how scary I think Sunday could be. Yeah, we had another one who said they don't expect any touchdowns for the Broncos come Sunday. So my question to you both is there any chance that this Broncos offense can score 2 touchdowns come Sunday, Will?
Ooh.
I mean, 2 is a big number.
Yeah, it
really is a big number. We haven't seen that since what, the Vegas game?
2?
It's been a couple weeks since we've seen 2. So no, my gut answer on that is no. That the Broncos will not score 2 touchdowns. You mentioned the booing thing, Rachel. I am genuinely curious, and this may be a first in an NFL stadium, or maybe D-Mac can tell us if McDaniels ever got it. Has there ever been a fire blank chant? And in this case, the chant would be fire Hackett.
No.
Can you imagine if that boomed from 75,000 people on Sunday?
Well, no, because if you go to the game, you're inherently wishing for good things. You may boo, but collectively, you're probably not going to join together in that kind of chant. But our crowd, we figured out how to do the countdown together. That was pretty organic. So, although I would say unlikely, I wouldn't say it's impossible. And by the way, sadly,
in the 4th quarter, fire Hackett could boom through that stadium.
Well, I like Nathaniel Hackett just as a person. He seems like an awful nice guy. So I don't have anything personal against Nathaniel Hackett. He just wasn't ready for this. And it's more than clear he was bait for Aaron Rodgers, and that didn't work out. So, oh well. You know, the one thing that we have learned over the years, it is better if he's bait for Aaron Rodgers. What we have learned, it's better to cut bait sooner than later. And we learned that with BJ and Vic Fangio. And that sucks because here we go for the 3rd time in a row. But there's no reason to expect that things are going to turn around with Nathaniel Hackett. There's been no evidence of that. Why? And I do believe this. The process was broken in the first place. So the only way to really fix things, in all honesty, guys, is you got to redo everything, and you can't redo everything in the middle of the season. It's impossible. So you got to ask the question, is he the type of guy who can redo everything, or should we just bring in somebody who's done it well in the first place? And by the way, some first-time coaches are doing okay. Brian Dable is doing unbelievable with New York. Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota is doing fantastic. Our guy, Mike McDaniel, looking at Smoky Hill High School right there, pride of Smoky Hill. They're doing all right. They've had some ups and downs with their quarterbacks, but nobody's talking about getting rid of Mike McDaniel. So it's not that you can't do it. It's just that Nathaniel Hackett apparently can't hack it.
We did get a Jake on the back end. Panthers fans chanted fire Matt Rule last year. So it does happen. I could honestly see it happening depending on how this Bronco team looks come Sunday. But we do have to tell everybody about an awesome opportunity as DMAC is headed to Broncos to hear what the coordinators have to say. DMAC, thank you so much. Parents, you can register to win a year-long membership to Red Line Centennial plus a $100 gas gift card. It's a brand new state-of-the-art speed and agility training facility. It's the ultimate spot for your student athlete ages 8 through 18 to take their performance to the next level. Check it out. Redline Athletic Centennial. Enter in at denverfan.com. But we now bring in our very own, can anybody beat this guy? Because I have some serious questions. When we look at our King Soopers poll, we need to switch it. Can anybody beat this guy? He comes in looking like he's about to go into the boxing rink or something. Matt Smith,
I'm feeling dangerous today, Rachel. You know, I was just trying to see if wearing sunglasses inside improves things. You know, Russ has inspired me. Does it make me look cooler that I'm wearing sunglasses inside? This isn't Dolce & Gabbana. Maybe that's what's ruining it. But what do you think, Will?
No,
Sunglasses
you look dangerous. Yeah, you just need to get a little subway.
Here comes the airplane.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ever done anything dangerous?
You guys, the new video is even more cringy. Somebody needs to stop his team from putting out anything until this team can win a game. It's so bad. But Matt, congratulations. I can't believe you're back. Again, I need to just start copying your picks or something because I want to win a $100 gift card to King Super. So I need to know, what are you going to buy this week? You should throw a party for everybody. You should host a party or something.
Oh, I am. This week, it's all icy hot and BioFreeze and Tiger Balm, and I'm shipping it right to Cherry Hills to Russell's house. This guy is banged up shoulder. Now we got a hammy. I mean, we need QB1 to get back on track here, and clearly some nice healing ointments from the pharmacy section at King Soopers, which I'll be able to go and get now. Because I mean, look, they not only have they fed me, but I'm swimming in it now for King Soopers. I'm not surprised I'm back, guys. I mean, Will. I mean, I know I'm doing well, buddy, but I'm looking way down there at you, and you're nowhere to be found. What's going on this year, Will?
Yeah, you know, I got really lucky that we had a couple new hires come on board and start to come a little later because both Drew Spivak and Derek Wolf are at the very bottom now. So it makes me look a little bit better as not being there in last place. Matt, I will tell you this.
Yeah.
One, my good friend Zach Bai gave me a tip, and he said, don't worry about the season long. Just try to win the week to week. Now, I'm embarrassing myself, so I probably should have figured that wasn't a good tip. And, oh, by the way, you're winning season long and winning week to week. So you're doing something right. I'm not. I'm making kind of outlandish, crazy picks, and they're sort of blowing up in my face.
I was going to say, it's really hard if you have a bad week one, it's really hard to catch up. I will say that, Will. And I know you kind of win all over the place week one. So don't worry. I've been there. That's what I did last year. I was like, oh, screw it. I'll try and do whatever. No, it really failed me. So I'm sorry, my friend. Oh.
Matt, you're muted.
You're muted, my friend.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Okay. All right.
About your strategy versus, I know that's where you were going.
My point is you took advice from Zach. Do you see where Zach is in the standings? He's right next to you, buddy. Yeah. Not good. The advice from someone on how to win something is never don't try and win the whole thing. You know, that's a really, really bad strat. Maybe that's what the Broncos are doing. Maybe it's like, hey, look, just don't even worry about the whole season and winning the Super Bowl. Just try and, do whatever you can to win 1 week. Well, maybe you should have thought, hey, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Maybe we should try and prepare for it. But yeah, no, I wouldn't take Zach's advice on Pick'em. Look, I haven't trailed this year in Pick'em. It's going to be a wire-to-wire win. A third of the way through the season, I've won 50% of the weeks, and I tied with Stoke week 1. I'm dummying everybody. Somebody come give me some competition, please. An open invitation. How many Super Bowl rings do we have between the staff? How many does Schlereth got? 2 or 3? 3, right? 3. Yep. Stokes got 2, right?
Yep.
Derek's got 1.
Derek's got 1. Yeah. All right. That's plenty. That's plenty. Chad's got a couple of All-Pros, a couple of Pro Bowls. Orlando's all-decade Broncos. Somebody come give me some competition here, please. I'm just waiting.
We got a comment that said, does King Super sell Wolverine blood? Because, yeah, I'm curious on that one, too. But I do want to get into Thursday night pick for tonight. I guess we'll start with the winner here. Matt, who are you taking? Who should we pick? Who should Will and I pick?
I can't divulge that information because when you're trying to win this whole thing, Rachel, I'm not giving anything away. But what I will tell you is the Cardinals have lost 8 straight games at home. That is abysmal. That is abysmal. They have to figure it out, and they get DeAndre Hopkins back tonight, which is a big step in the right direction for them. Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints is not going to play either. The Saints are a little bit banged up. We still don't even know who's going to start. Is it Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston? So I'll wait to see what happens there before making my pick, but it's going to be hard for me to stay away from the Cardinals tonight. That's a better team than they've shown so far. That performance in Seattle on Sunday was ugly. They are going to be at home. They're riding an 8-game home losing streak. Can you really lose 9 games at home when you do have some talent on your football team? So for me, I'm probably leaning Arizona. We'll wait to see that final injury report from New Orleans, though.
All right. Well, what about you?
Well, here's the thing, guys. Who gets the boot, the hack, whatever first? Cliff Kingsbury or Nathaniel Hackett?
Right.
Because the Cardinals paid Kyler Murray all this money. Just like Russell Wilson, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Kingsbury has constantly underachieved. They embarrassed themselves in the playoffs last year. Normally his teams start hot and then fall off a cliff. Well, this year they've started by falling off the cliff. I mean, I don't know what the latest odds are for next coach to be fired, but now that Matt Rule has gotten the boot, I got to think that Kingsbury and Hackett are both right up there.
They just extended him, though.
I was just about to say they just gave him a new contract, though. That's the brutal part about it. Like this summer, I think. Maybe Jay can look that up, but I'm pretty sure it was this summer that they gave him that contract. Things are not going well in Arizona. That game against Seattle last week, they look like a tire fire. So honestly, the Saints don't look much better. I mean, they've got Taysom Hill and Kamara. Michael Thomas is still out for them. I think Olave is going to play tonight, but Jarvis Landry won't. I mean, the Saints are a mess. The Cardinals are a mess. It's Thursday night football. What else should we expect, right? I mean, the last 3 Thursday night games, including tonight, have been awful. So I fully expect this game to be just as bad, and for Al Michaels to be, subtweeting verbally the game the entire time.
All right, real quick, Jake just pointed out that Cliff has the best odds to be fired despite the contract extension. He's minus 110. So that goes to show you that guess what? Billionaires, they'll pay millionaires a few bucks to go away. How much did Matt Rule just get to go away in Carolina? A huge chunk of change.
Right.
If it's not working, they'll pay you to go away.
And it also shows you, Will, that if you paid the quarterback, you'd much rather stick with him than stick with a coach that you even just paid to. So, I mean, we'll see what happens here, but there's tons to answer in Broncos country.
And again, another bad Thursday night game, like you said, Matt. Okay, we do need to get on to some fun stuff, though, and I'm actually curious, both of you, how do you feel about the Avs' new retro or reverse retro jersey? Because I'm not exactly sure how I'm feeling about it. Not going to lie. Like, they're cool, but also I'm just not sure. I love fashion. I'm here for it. I mean, like, did the colors get muted or something here in the video? Like, I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of the C, so I'm curious for both of yours. Will, hit me.
Well, listen, I like the homage to the state flag. I'm good with that, with the main logo here. You're right, Rachel. The video isn't quite as good as if you go and look at the pictures. You can clearly tell it's the exact same colors as the Colorado state flag. But this one is going to be tough to live up to the one they revealed in November 2020, the homage to the Quebec Nordiques. That was the first reverse retro, and that one was awesome. That one was a 10 out of 10. When I first saw this one this morning, I'm like, it's a 5, 6 out of 10. It's fine, but I don't think people are going to be running to the store to buy this one like they were the one a couple years ago.
So I was super triggered when I first saw that video because just like you, Rachel, the colors in the video looked weird, and that blue that's on the shoulders looked green, and it looked like a Minnesota jersey at first. So I was like, "What the hell is that?" And then I saw the still videos. So I was like, "Okay, well, hold on, this is more of an homage to the old Colorado Rockies, the first hockey team that was in Colorado. Then they went to New Jersey and became the Devils. So I would have liked to see them go with the mountain, the triangle around the sea, kind of the old Rockies uniform. And if you want to check it out, go look it up to see what it used to look like. I think I actually posted a picture of it on my Twitter page. But at first I didn't like it, and then it kind of started to grow on me. The fact is, the Avs, outside of the jersey that Will just referenced, the white reverse retro Nordique, which was just gorgeous, which fans still wish they could buy. And I don't know why the NHL it only uses these jerseys one or two times. You should allow that team to continue using those as alternates, because I don't like the alternate, the dark blue, the deep blue that they wear, that alternate. I'm not a huge fan of that one. So I don't mind it. I mean, if you go look at some of the other ones, it's definitely better than some of the other ones. Chicago's was awful. Detroit's was awful. St. Louis was terrible. There were some really bad ones. LA had a cool one. For me, I'm indifferent, but it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible either.
All right, Matt, appreciate you hanging out with us for a little bit. Congratulations again on winning. All right, everybody, the man that cannot be beat apparently when it comes to
somebody come chase me. Come on now. Come on.
We'll give it our best shot this week. All right, Matt Smith, everybody, huge shout out to him for hanging out with us, and congratulations to him again on winning, because, oh my gosh, I would kill for a $100 gift card, let alone $300 gift cards. But we got a question, Will, and it says, EJ looking like a disaster on the PK, Tays misplaying the 3-on-2, and Rantanen completely misreading the situation in overtime. Embarrassing. How are you feeling about last night's game?
Yeah, well, with EJ, I mean, we've got to remember that if the Avalanche had it their way, they probably would have preferred he retire, right? Mm-hmm. So he was already sort of getting toward the end of the road. He had $6 million left. He wanted his money. The Avs weren't going to force him out. He's the longest tenured a player on the team. He's one of the longest tenured Denver athletes of all time. So there's going to be some pain with EJ this year. Like, he's just getting older, and there's just going to be some moments that make you shake your head. Luckily, the rest of their defense is so loaded. In terms of Mel's comment with Tays and Rantanen, they're all going to have bad plays. I've seen Makar have bad plays. I've seen McKinnon have bad plays. Tays and Rantanen remain two of their, 5 or 6 best players. Not going to panic. It's October. It's an OT loss to Winnipeg. They still got a point. All good. Rachel, I think I told you and D-Mac last week they were going to be 500 at Christmas. They're 2-1-1. I'm still not going to panic if they're 500 at Christmas. I can't get too worked up again about a Wednesday night game in October.
No, definitely. And again, you look at the regular season as one. And to be honest, I'm kind of looking at it in threes now. We talked about this with the Nuggets yesterday. I'm always looking at before Landy comes back, when Landy comes back, and then the postseason. It's like 3 different seasons. They had a long summer of partying, and while you hate to see it kind of play into the beginning of the season, it's bound to happen. Things aren't going to look super crystal clear, but everybody stay calm with your Avalanche. I promise good things are on the horizon. And I'm saying the same thing about the Nuggets. We're going to get into a lot of Nuggets talk tomorrow as they take on the Golden State Warriors. I tweeted out that it was embarrassing, and some people weren't very happy with me. They said I hit the panic button. I did not. We'll get into all of that tomorrow, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with Will, D-Mac, myself, Matt Smith again, and we'll see everybody tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Bye, everyone.